Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and yesterday evening, it was at about 6 o'clock, I was taking one of my sons to work out at a workout place, and my 7-year-old is always asking for the next thing, whether it's candy or a toy or whatever. He's aggressive. But he loves going to gas stations, convenience stores to get a snack. So I get in the line. He's gone off to find something for a snack. This is at 6 o'clock at night. Dinner time is 30 minutes away, probably. This kid goes off and he shows up in the line and he's holding a big, not a little donut, but a big donut, and just looking at me, smirking and smiling. And he's already pulled the thing out of the thing. So I looked at him and I said, listen, this is how thick as thieves he and his mama are. I said, now listen, I'm going to get you this donut, but do not tell your mother that I bought you a donut 30 minutes away from dinner time, because then I will catch all kinds of, you know what. This kid is, and I know he hasn't done it yet, but I know it's coming. He's somehow, some way, he's always warming up to his mom. Somehow, some way. Now, I'm sitting here telling 10,000 people what happened. But the crazy part is it's not going to get to my wife through that. My wife does not listen to my shows for the same reason that I don't listen to my shows. It's kind of one of those things. You are your worst critic. Well, my wife probably, she doesn't go and listen to me because I think she's almost scared the same way I'm scared to listen to myself. But anyway, I'll give you an update on it. But one way or another, you watch. This little twerp is going to tell his mother that I gave him that donut just to do it, just because they're that close since he's the baby. I was thinking about that this morning because I just knew every time I do something like that, I just know somehow, some way he's going to get me. Okay, let's look at this. Sergeant Obi-Wan, Swiss real estate worth $134 million tokenized. Sold via blockchain. Well, folks, go ahead and get used to it, because this is going to be happening all around us, okay? Real estate across the world is going to be, I can't wait for this, because for a few reasons, but one of them is I can't wait to be able to look online and look for like waterfront property in Japan or whatever, and study all these markets all around the world and be able to just go and buy tokenized ownership of real estate like that all around the world. Or just something, let's say that you're fascinated by Stonehenge, which is in England. Imagine being able to own a piece of Stonehenge, a piece of that real estate that Stonehenge sits on. This world we're heading off into is going to be fascinating. All right. Now, so one thing I've told you many times on this channel, that I was a financial advisor for Morgan Stanley a few years back. I've been telling you what's going to happen with financial advisors. I've talked to several financial advisors for the last few years. 5 years ago, they were telling me, oh no, ha ha ha. They were laughing at digital assets, and I've told them then, and I've told them since then, no, as soon as you guys figure out how to get paid on this, you're going to be selling this, and it's going to change the world at that point. So now here's our survey. Survey shows 2020 surge in crypto interest among financial advisors. Bitwise report. Bitwise Asset Management, in collaboration with ETF Trends, has released its 2020 study covering financial advisors and their attitudes toward cryptocurrencies. Now remember, folks, when I got in this in 2013, all these guys laughed at me, and some of them are actual Morgan Stanley financial advisors. You know who you are out there. They laughed at me. They said I didn't know what I was talking about. Those same guys are going to be selling this. I've said it from day one. Once they have their compensation package out, Digital assets will be between 0.5% and 5% of every portfolio in retail and in institutional. Here is the findings of their survey, and this survey took place recently. Key findings. The number of advisors allocating to crypto in client portfolios is expected to more than double in 2020, from 6% to 13%. 6% of financial advisors currently have a crypto allocation in client portfolios. None of the advisors with positions today intend to decrease or eliminate their position in the next year. 42% with positions plan to increase clients' crypto allocations in the next 12 months. 58% with positions plan to hold that position steady. Most of the financial advisors who fielded questions about crypto received inquiries from just a small number of clients, fewer than 10%. That's because they're not selling it yet. 72% of advisors think clients may be investing in crypto outside of their advisory relationship, up from 65% last year. Now, this right here is what is going to change big time. These financial advisors are about to be able to sell it at their brokerage firms. And when that happens, this right here completely flops. Once they have all of their commission structures laid out, then it's on, like Donkey Kong. Now, this is from Zero Hedge, and this is a very important piece of news. Oops, let me pull this. Okay. Everyone is extremely long frothy stocks. World's biggest hedge fund warns. Sees gold soaring as dollar loses reserve status. Now, they don't talk about digital assets in this. They don't have to, because guess what literally crushed gold in performance over the last year? That would be Bitcoin, digital assets, and it's crushing it still. All right. I want to read you one excerpt from this, because this is what it's really all about. Here it goes. But the main reason why Bridgewater is going long gold is also the most startling one. As a result of coming inflation surge and the ballooning U.S. budget and trade deficits, the status of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency could be threatened. That could happen quickly, or it could happen a decade from now, but it's definitely in the range of possibilities. And when you look at the geopolitical strife, how many foreign entities really want to hold dollars, and what are they going to hold? Gold stands out. No, digital asset stands out, because digital asset, here's the thing. That dollar reserve status, folks, it's allowed the U.S. to control all these countries like Iran and all of that through SWIFT. Well, guess what they're using right now over there to get around SWIFT? They're using digital assets. This is the reason, the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency status being in jeopardy has always been a conversation. But now it's real because of the digital asset issue, and they know it. They all know it. That's what they're talking about. Okay. Bank XRP. Here's another theme of what I've been saying for the last year and a half. I told you this, that not only will you see all of the traditional financial products come about that you see in traditional finance for digital assets, but there will be products that haven't even been created yet that are going to come about. But it'll be all of the financial products you know. This is from Bank XRP. Wisdom Tree's investment in C Currency, which is a company, may be a game changer for blockchain and financial services. So, let's look at this. The merge of buy-side with blockchain platform. Wisdom Tree is by no means the first buy-side institution to embrace blockchain. Franklin Templeton announced their intention to track funds of its shares using the blockchain in partnership with Stellar and wallet provider Curve. Vanguard is using Symbiont's blockchain technology for index rebalancing and FX swaps, and USCF Investments LLC recently announced an intention to use blockchain technology earlier last year. Fund management giant Fidelity is also using blockchain, albeit for a rather different service, providing crypto custody. And anyway, bottom line is, all of these crypto ETFs are coming in. And I've told this story before. When I was a financial advisor, These companies like Wisdom Tree, they would send salesmen into these brokerage firms, and the salesmen would bring donuts, and they would hold meetings in front of all of us, and they would present their latest greatest ETF or mutual fund is, and at the very end of every one of those, a financial advisor would raise his hand, and he would say, "How do we get paid?" And that's what you're about to see happen across the world. All of these financial advisors are going to be looking at shiny new brochures, and they're going to, it could be from Wisdom Tree. It's going to say, it might say be a new ETF or mutual fund that's called the Digital Asset 30. And guess who's going to be included in that Digital Asset 30? Maybe the top 30 digital assets or the top 10, whatever. And XRP, the greatest digital asset ever created, will be in those portfolios, folks. And these guys will be selling them. And by that time, you may be retired on your yacht. I know I will be. Of course, I'm not going to buy a yacht. I'm going to ride on Mr. B's because he's a boat guy. And if it flies or floats, I don't buy it. Now, this Wisdom Tree, the investment they just made is in this company's Securrency. If you don't believe me, listen to their words about what they're about. Securrency delivers to financial institutions and their clients the convenient compliance tools and true interoperability among legacy and blockchain systems necessary for global adoption of digital assets. They're creating the systems necessary for global adoption of digital assets. And this is what Wisdom Tree just bought into, the global adoption of digital assets. This might be a time for my son to draw another picture. Global adoption of digital assets is what this is all about. Speaking of, remember Ripple invested in MoneyGram, right? Remember how MoneyGram now uses XRP for on-demand liquidity and is expanding across the world doing so? What do you think MoneyGram's competitors are thinking when they're seeing MoneyGram stock go up 20% because the great announcements and the turnaround of this company is right there in their face? Articles are coming out almost weekly or daily even. We've covered one or two just this week. 20% this stock is up today in one day. That is not bad for Ripple, folks. Just as a by the way. Michelle Vandenberg sent me so much information, I almost want to call him Chinu Patel today. The first thing he sent me from Bank XRP, the governor, Mark Carney, he was with Bank of England, has today been appointed as the Prime Minister's finance advisor for COP26 to help build a sustainable financial system to support the transition to a net zero economy. And then there's this, Jameson Lopp, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust fourth quarter 2019 investment of $193.8 million marked the largest quarterly capital raise since its inception in 2013. What do you think that means, folks? I can tell you what it means, but I don't think I have to spell it out. Let me get rid of that phone call so that we can go on here. This is from Barry Curley, The Digital Asset Boom, a trailer, a well-written article by someone who has the correct historical perspective and actually gets it. Now, what I want to show you here, folks, is I'm not going to show you the article, but I am going to read. It's a Fin Extra, and I'll give you the title of the article. It's The Digital Asset Boom, a trailer. Now, I've been comparing this to the .com bubble from the very beginning because I am over 40 and I was there. Okay. And it is I want to read to you from this article. This is the final part of the article. It says the scene is set. So the scene looks, it may be set for a digital asset boom for the banking sector. The difference this time compared to the .com boom is that it plays to the strengths of the banking sector and is on their own turf. Banks specialize in different classes of financial assets. Digital assets are simply a new asset class for them to commercialize. Regulators also have a strong focus on the sector, and in many instances appear intent on enablement and supervision rather than on prevention, which helps. Whereas the .com boom was a short-lived affair for banks, The digital asset boom will be more sustained and commercially viable. The sector is also much wiser and seasoned in innovation than it was during the dot-com era and will embrace it with confidence. The digital-first fintech banks, so-called challengers or neobanks, could lead the way, as could the many blockchain startups building capabilities on public permissionless blockchains. Although these had a mini boom several years ago and have endured a blockchain winter since, dwindling their number. However, balance sheet size and liquidity in assets and liabilities will be essential ingredients to any boom. So the larger established banks will need to step up for it to happen. It will be fun if they do. Watch out for the digital asset bank strategies, 100-day plans, and floods of press releases as evidence, in which case 2020 or 2021 could be blockbuster years for adoption of digital assets of all types. There you have it, folks. All right. Cryptopolis. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, U.S. assets are in a bubble, including stock and bonds. There's a 120 billion injected. There is 120 billion injected into the repo market each day. That's more than $1 trillion every 8.3 days. Seriously, how much longer can it continue before the market loses confidence? And that right there is the miracle of the last 10 years, that this has not happened. Cryptopolis has 40 years experience in all this, folks. He's not just talking. He knows what's coming. Cryptopolis again. Are people and the media starting to finally wake up? The Federal Reserve is the cause of the bubble in everything. You're starting to see major traditional financial news media, and they're coming out and they're saying it, folks. The Federal Reserve is the cause of the bubble in everything. They wouldn't be saying this if they weren't allowed to say it, in my opinion, folks. All right. XRP Honey Bear at C_Mike13 sent me this from Anthony Pompliano. Well, we're getting closer to the digital dollar. This guy and others have formed the Digital Dollar Foundation to push this from an idea to reality. Hopefully the Federal Reserve is paying attention. Former CFTC officials ramp up push for digital dollar with Accenture partnership. It's all coming. It's all coming. And it's a planned thing, folks. A quarter of all countries, this is from Michael at VAL5 Links, a quarter of all countries experienced a dramatic surge in civil unrest last year, and a worrying trend that is likely to continue in 2020, researchers have found. And finally, folks, remember how I have kept telling you that adoption is on the way, and that you're going to be wrapped in adoption and advertisement and the selling of this. This is from Bank Frick, which is one of the largest banks in Liechtenstein. Our Bank Frick Boost Your Blockchain Business bus is on the move in the crypto valley, first in blockchain. Now, what we're looking at right here, let me see what the crypto valley is. Updates from that's Switzerland. So they're advertising their bank, which is in the blockchain business now, in Switzerland. This is all happening by design. Now, I want everybody to throw up some prayers here. This Be Brave at Josh A. Capes. Hey, y'all, can you pray for me? I have to go to LA for 2 weeks for treatment for health stuff. Been struggling. I've been away from my wife and I haven't been away from my wife and kids ever, but I got to get better. I know God has a plan in all this. He could even heal me. Thanks. So throw up some prayers for Be Brave. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And tell your friends and family to throw up some prayers for Be Brave, who's at Josh A. Capes. Thank you for listening.